among your businesses will take the lead post-crisis?
I think that there's going to be a big rebound on the tourism. I think we're very excited. There's going to be a lot of pent up demand. We're seeing a lot of that happening in the U.S., for example, in Europe. I think retail also will also have a very huge rebound. Um, I think that tourism, though, in the near term, will probably be regional in nature. And I think that would be the case for the at least the foreseeable future. And I think that really bodes very well for our gaming business, for example, which really benefits from a more regional source market. But yeah, I think that travel and tourism is going to be our big bet, and that's why we're doubling down on that as well. We continue to build our hotels, and we continue to invest in that sector.
What about yourself, Lance? Do you see tourism as the best growth story for your conglomerate?
I guess whatever goes down the most hopefully bounces back the strongest. So we do expect that from a lower base, of course, the most severely affected base, our airline business and our hotel business will experience the largest rebound. We do have to be aware, though, that this is not just going to happen overnight. We need really to support the concerted effort of the government in getting as many of our countrymen vaccinated as possible, and that is the only way in which we will come back. No, but the reason all of us here are here is because we are still firm believers in the Philippines. This is our country, and we will support it, and that's job number one. No? It's really to continue to support economic growth in the country and just make Filipino lives better. So.
No doubt the uncertainty, the severity of the pandemic has led us all to just rediscover the customer needs and evolve the business models to meet those needs. And top of mind is to be purposeful and sustainable. Al, environmental sustainability is one of the key issues that surfaced during the pandemic. What are your thoughts on global warming and climate change? And what has the group done to address this?
Actually, one of my four fulcrums is sustainability. I think it's been part of our business models for years now, but we want to make sure we incorporate a sustainable development in our strategies. But at the same time, we're trying to align business initiatives to contribute to the UN SDG, right? But in these times, we need to recalibrate our directions and our programs. To your point, it has to be purpose-driven, really aligning it with our environment, social, and governance pillars, ESG. And that's been always a theme when we talk to analysts, looking at sustainability programs of the company. I mean, some of the programs we do today, we launched our country's first carbon fiber cell tower. We launched it over urban rooftops. It actually produces less carbon dioxide by up to 70% if you compare it to steel. So we will use more of that in cell sites. We started a green fleet program. We're looking at putting e-vehicles in our trucks in our trucks that go around for installation and repair. That's something also we're looking at. There are a lot of initiatives. For example, we're a huge power user, especially in our data centers, we want to make sure that we're able to source from renewable sources eventually, bring down power consumption, energy efficiency programs that we're embarking on. So there are a lot of initiatives that I feel that sustainability has to align core to your business. It has to be something that you don't have to do anything much, but do what you do normally every day, and it contributes to that sustainability program. Of course, we can we've been supporting the mangroves in Palawan and things like those. But I think what is core, to business is what matters most in terms of sustainability. And hopefully every employee in PLDT Smart understand and are able to appreciate their contribution to that effort. So it's a big task, big programs, but we really have to do it.
How about you, Joseph? What are you doing for sustainability?
Yes, Kathy. We believe that how we affect and are affected by the environment and society is really very important. And so for that, we have actually a dedicated unit looking into sustainability initiatives. And this unit is actually headed by a chief sustainability officer who is a part of our executive leadership team. So that's how serious we are in looking into this. And some of the things that we have actually done and continue to do, one is that we look into the packaging because we all know that restaurants uses a lot of packaging. And when we look into that area, and how do you, before you talk about reuse or recycle, is there a way to reduce the number of packaging used? And we're happy that we are one of the first, if not the first, to use a reusable wares for dine-in consumptions. So we've shifted from disposable to reusable wares so that we can reduce the number of packaging. And for takeout and delivery, when there's no choice but to use packaging, we have shifted to paper, if not biodegradable packaging. As mentioned by Al, on the energy sources, we also look into the renewable energy sources for some of our stores and for our manufacturing sites. We have solar panels installed. We tap into that to help us with the renewable energy sources. Outside of the environment, we also look at the society and looking at segments that we can actually, have a help. We can help. We can have an impact. And so we have our Jollibee Group Foundation that is working on that. And one of the programs is the Farmer Entrepreneurship Program. In this program, what we do is that we try to improve the livelihood of our farmers. And through our program, we're happy to see that our farmers, their income have increased significantly, and that we hear a lot of successful stories that before they don't look at farming as their main source of business because they're not getting enough profit, income. And with our programs, we help them in terms of looking for buyers and how to be an entrepreneur, actually.
Bernie, you've begun yours with one of your brands using more environmentally friendly materials. So how do you see your sustainability push evolving?
Well, as Al mentioned, Kathy, that sustainability for us is really about what we do in the company beyond just our usual CSR, but really integrate the concept and the behavior of sustainability in the company. And one of the things that our company has been doing is really to align our supply chain, our ecosystem, and making sure that we really, if there's one word that I would describe our effort would be to reduce waste. And waste, in the retail and the fashion business has been labeled as one of the biggest polluters, simply because all of the excesses that we have, the products ends up in the dump site, simply because the consciousness of waste is not there among many brand owners and retailers. And that is something that we take very seriously in the company, starting with we only produce what we can sell. And we're proud to say that we're one of the very, very few retailers adopting global standards on the number of stock keeping units and inventory that we have in our system, because we don't intend, and 100% of our products that we acquire and produce do not end up in dump sites, simply because we have very, very strict discipline on the level of inventory. While most other companies, and I would not perhaps label them, but it's normal for retailers to carry as much as 6 months inventory. In our company, we only do 2 months or about 8 weeks, simply because we believe strongly that we do not, we minimize waste, not only in the consumption, but in the way that unnecessary fabrics are produced and unnecessary garments, and that whatever we do acquire ends up in the closets of our customers and not in the dump sites.
Chris, you've also been trying to reduce waste, plastic waste, and tackle concerns against overfishing. But what are you doing now to scale those up?
Sure, yeah. So Kathy, sustainability is actually huge within the company. what we're trying to do is basically integrate the sustainability mindset all across our day-to-day business. And I personally chair our sustainability committee. So when we think about sustainability, we have a framework, what we call the 3 Ps: protein, people, and planet. So protein is our products, our food products, is really the way we touch the rest of the community. And so obviously we look at the type of nutrition, the type of ingredients that we put into our products, and we're trying to do better than what we are today and come up with a healthier product portfolio. On people, we're mindful of the number of jobs we create, as well as the type of, we make sure that our employees have decent livelihoods, right? And we're also under people also, we make sure we're nurturing the human capital that we have. And then finally, planet is basically our manufacturing footprint as a food manufacturer. And you mentioned 2 things. One is the overfishing. So the good news is the latest information that came out just the last 2 weeks from the Institute of Conservation for Nature. 16,000 scientists basically said that even the bluefin tuna, which is a very prized species of tuna, has now been removed from the endangered list, and it's now less threatened. And the main raw material of tuna that we manufacture, which is called skipjack or yellowfin, they've been removed from threatened to now of least concern. So that's really good news, and basically that says that the combination of science, technology, as well as regulation coming together can really come up with sustainable fisheries. In the case of science, that's the understanding the reproductive cycle of the animal, as well as using the right catching methods. And then the technology is tracking systems to make sure that people are following the rules, and then regulations basically from government as well as NGOs, fishing quotas, and making sure that the capacity of fishing is properly monitored and controlled. So all these things together have produced very good results over the last 10 to 20 years. In the case of plastic that you mentioned, we work with a nonprofit called Plastic Credit Exchange, where we measure our plastic footprint and then work with them to remove the same amount of plastic and then convert that single-use plastic from waste to energy.
And Kevin, you're also looking to reduce waste in your developments. How is this contributing to your aim for a triple bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, so we set upon ourselves not just to be profit-centric company, but also to aim for a triple bottom line, which includes environmental sustainability and social impact. Our goal, our new guidance, aside from our profits, is that we want to be carbon neutral by 2035, which means that among other efforts, we need to shift to 100% renewable energy. And this has to start right away. It's be done in phases over the next 5 to 6 years. But of course, since we are in very diverse types of businesses, and we operate not just in the Philippines but all over the world, in different parts of the world rather, this is a very challenging feat. But we are committed to it. We are also identifying the need to embark on major recycling. As you can imagine, with the scale of our communities, plastic waste is also an issue for us. And so like Chris, we are also working with Plastic Credit Exchange to be able to find solutions in order for us to be able to recycle our plastic, to be made into building materials, or like you said, to be made into cement. And this kind of bodes well with us because we're a real estate company, we're into development, so we can reuse these materials for our construction. But also, we're finding more sustainable ways to produce our products, not only here in the Philippines, but in other parts of the world as well. And that includes, of course, water irrigation systems, biogas technology as well, in order for us to be able to recycle energy. On the social aspect, we have also committed to ourselves that we want to generate about 5 million direct and indirect jobs in the next 15 years. We believe that 80% of this country is still quite underdeveloped. So we see massive opportunities in order to be economic catalysts when we embark on large-scale developments, especially outside Metro Manila, which is what we are doing, which is why we are so heavily invested in the business process outsourcing and in the tourism sector. We believe these two industries can generate the most amount of jobs and the most amount of multipliers in terms of job creation. No?
And Lance, how are you driving the sustainability agenda in your conglomerate?
I think sustainability is as my colleagues here said, it's of vital importance for us. It's integrated into our management process. We do have a dedicated team which manages our sustainability affairs, and really their job is to educate, bring best practice, and really monitor how each of the different BUs are doing. I think for us, the most important thing is to put sustainability first and foremost into the board's agenda. We try to do this by first, benchmarking and actually measuring what we have. Second is to set targets, for us, for instance, in URC, by 2030, we've committed to reduce the use of energy, water, and other resources in the production of our products by 30% against our baseline. And then third, the final stage is really publish all these numbers and then have third-party auditors measure that. No? So that's the next step, which I think will be happening 2 to 3 years from now. But overall, our sustainability practice is really supportive of the UN Sustainability Development Goals. They're centered around 5 objectives. One is really all about shared success. For instance, during this COVID, you'll find that URC was one of the companies where you see most people stretching their payables, our days payable to our small suppliers. We actually recognized that they were hard pressed. We tried to pay them faster. We tried to make them more efficient, helping each other so that they could be more reliable suppliers to ourselves. We have the concept of resource circularity and resource efficiency. We have the concept of continuing to educate and develop our people. The fourth concept we have is continue to provide better choices. For C2, we launched a new enhanced product called ImmunoZ, which addresses more health and wellness concerns of our customers, and so those are really the planks of our sustainability program. And the fifth and most important one, probably because of the urgency with it, is really the climate action. No? And in that respect, we're happy to say that, for instance, Robinsons Land is really the largest, installer or operator of solar panels in the Philippines. Over 25 of our malls now have solar panels.
Just a final round, gentlemen. It's clear that the pandemic has had a profound impact on all your leadership approaches. You've all made the choice to disrupt rather than be disrupted. So to conclude, give us your new insights and realizations on what makes a revolutionary leader. Al.
Yeah, Kathy, I think, if I may start, there's no real playbook for this crisis. I don't think you can learn this from any MBA program. I think what happened to us this past 18 months is something very different. So we just have to rise above it. I think we talked about it today. I think in terms of leadership, it's really the people, for me, it's people first mindset, both employee and customer, making sure they're healthy, safe, and really decisions made around with huge consideration for people. From a leadership point of view, just think that you have to be authentic, clear, and transparent to your people. I think at this time during the pandemic, you have to over-communicate because we're all virtual, but you just have to always be out there messaging to them. Everybody said today here, we have to remain focused but agile. Making quick decisions, but I've heard also a lot of colleagues saying here digital transformation is going to be very key, and that's something that I think hopefully we can partner with everybody in the room. And lastly, I think in this pandemic, it's really just leading bravely. We can never tell what's going to happen. We just have to be more informed, and hopefully we make the right decisions. We have a lot of data in our midst. We do have close to 75 million customers that we have data on, and maybe we can remain relevant. We've always pushed for a purpose and to really remain relevant to our customers.
Bernie.
I think this pandemic, Kathy, everyone's going to come out of this pandemic a changed person and a changed organization. And I think our role as leaders is really, as Al said, we cannot emphasize the communication aspect, being able to be authentic and being able to convey to our people what is yet to come. And because our customers are changing, the environment is changing, the business environment and the way people behave is going to change. And we really have to communicate to our people to be ready to embrace disruption. And only then, since we've responded well this past 18 months and we continue to respond, we have to reboot and redigitize or revolutionize our businesses so that then someday, and hopefully sooner than later, we will all recover.
Joseph.
Yes, not to repeat, but if I may, it's about people again. So, the heart of our business is our people, and therefore, as a leader, we have to make sure that we're always there for them, that they can look up to us for strength, for directions, and so communication, connection, stay connected with our people is very important. And while realizing that, so trying to be strong and trying to be the source of motivation, inspiration for our people, just to like to share with the group that actually I get motivation and inspiration from my people as well. And so I'm very happy, very appreciate of our people, and that therefore I think it's a two-way thing of how to build on each other. The other thing also is to stay clear, to stay true with the purpose and the principles of the company. And so I always go back and align and realign to our company mission and core values. And I encourage that I always remind everyone in the organization to do the same, because sometimes, especially in this crisis, given that you have to make tough choices, you feel lost and things like that. And what brings me back is the purpose and the principles of the company.
Chris.
Sure. So my takeaway, Kathy, is to start still with a growth mindset. So that whole point about the silver lining in these times, and having an opportunity seeking sort of mindset. So when these are tough times, recessionary times, let's come up with value for money offerings, group meals, as Joseph had mentioned. And as a businessman, there are probably also opportunities for acquisitions, right? So still putting on that almost like a contrarian sort of attitude. The second one is very similar to what Joseph mentioned, right? We're kind of tossed and turned by daily events, new regulations and whatnot, but connect to mission. And in our case, it's affordable nutrition. It's coming up with a healthier, more sustainable, more inclusive company. So with all of these different changes, the decisions are easy to make if we're just measuring ourselves against how we're doing vis-a-vis our mission. And then finally is basically your question earlier, Kathy, about sustainability. What this pandemic has emphasized is that we are all truly connected, and everybody's got to do their part. But it's not only that. The market is changing. Employees as well as customers want to associate with companies that resonate with their values. So that's the third one for me, is to embrace sustainability.
Kevin.
Yeah, for me, it's emphatic leadership. I think that's what's needed right now. Again, as I mentioned here before already, support for your people, your entire organization. There has to be a very strong support system within it, especially those that are on the front lines. They risk their lives every day to serve the company, to serve our customers. So I think that it's very important as leaders to be able to create an organization that puts their safety as a priority. We have made great strides also in vaccinating our employees. Most of our companies have vaccinated 100% of our employees already, and the others are at least around 80 to 90%. And now we're focusing on the people that our employees find very important, which are their dependents. So we're starting to help vaccinate their dependents as well. So I think those are very important measures in order to continue to motivate your people. Also, we need to take a broader sense of community. Remember, as our businesses, we manage various communities, we manage various stakeholders. And so it's important also that our policies are tuned to their safety, to their welfare, and every decision we make is for their benefit. Secondly, I think that we need to truly value connection, and connections on so many levels. I guess first on a broader sense, connection with the world, because any disruption to any of this can cause a negative effect of outcomes, right? And lastly, of course, connection with our community, with our customers. I think that ultimately we will come out of this with a merging of both the physical world and the digital world. And so this connection must truly be established and must be the new bedrock of our businesses. Of course, lastly, and this is my personal insight, is that sometimes the word pivot, diversify, or expansion is sort of unthinkable at this point in time. But I think that we need to look at things more positively. Sometimes we might need to take bold steps, and these steps might end up redefining your entire business model. And so we shouldn't be afraid to be agile and nimble at this time.
And Lance.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I think probably just echoing and repeating what all my fellow CEOs have mentioned, I will speak about three things. One is really interconnectedness. I think the pandemic has shown us that the world is really a small world. We're all connected to one another. So situations like this, we just really have to get together with our broader set of stakeholders, starting, of course, with our own employees, making sure that they feel safe, they feel rewarded, that they feel recognized in all the things that they do. And of course, helping our immediate communities and the broader national government in achieving their health goals. I mean, it's clearly a rising tide will lift all ships, and that will only happen if vaccination is widespread and people feel safe. The second thing I'd like to talk about again is the importance of purpose and values. Again, in this situation, the old days of command and control decision making is gone. I mean, there's so many things happening at the same time. The stakeholders we have are so many, number of customers we have are so many. So it's important that we understand clearly and what are committed to our values and purpose are as a company, and finding the same amount of finding the right leadership team and employee set to really who support you in achieving this purpose. And broadly speaking, our purpose as a company is really to continue to provide better choices for our customers and create shared success for a broader set of stakeholders. I think the true test of leadership really is really how we face tough times, and these are indeed tough times. But I'm really very and I go back to what Charles Darwin said. It's really not the strongest or the largest or the biggest that will survive. No, when pivotal changes happen, it's those that are most adaptable. So it's our job as leaders in our respective organizations to take the lead in transforming our own organizations and being much more adaptable to changes, especially with regards to digital, with regards to sustainability, with regards to the new normal. And I really want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude really to the team at the Gokongwei Group. They've really shined through all throughout this last 18 months, and I'm very confident that this team will bring us back bounces back to success in the coming years.
It all comes back to people and staying agile and purposeful. Thank you all, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure learning from you all, just turning crisis and opportunity, always listening to the customer and rising to the occasion to innovate. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the second plenary session of Revolution, the Philippine Digital Convention 2021. Again, we thank our distinguished panel and speakers for being generous with their insights and experiences. Of course, we thank you too for being such a great audience, for listening intently and sharing your comments. To our delegates, we wish to remind you that you can still get a chance to win exciting raffle prizes by simply answering the feedback form, which will be made available after this session. We hope you could join us once again tomorrow for the closing plenary session, where we will be synthesizing the wealth of takeaways we've had for this year's digital convention, as well as stock up on more invaluable advice on gearing up for the next revolution. Up next this afternoon, we have Tech Leadership Forums beginning at 2:30 p.m. and a fellowship night at 7 p.m. Manila time. Again, this has been your host, Kathy Yang, wishing you an unforgettable convention experience. Stay safe and well, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow.